Welcome to episode 58 of Raw Sport. My name is Ahmed El Houli, and we're back with another ripper with the man himself, Mr. Tony Sheehan. Tony, what's happening, Mr. Sheehan?
Good morning, Ahmed. I'm actually in beautiful, sunny Sydney as opposed to you Melbourneites, so I can see the sun. I'm not sure about you two.
Congratulations, Mr. Sheehan, on spotting the sun.
As our next guest looks to the sky.
Absolutely.
The sun's out in Melbourne, actually. Might go
It
for a
is.
nice wander.
It's not a bad day. And as usual, folks, we've got another huge guest with us, the man himself, the new boxing icon coming out of St Kilda, Mr. Stevie Baker. Stevie, how you going?
Hey guys, thank you. Coming off my first victory, so pretty excited and great to be here. So thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, mate. Before we get into the show, of course, we have to give a special shout out to our sponsors that make it all possible.
That's right. And Bakes, we know that you live in Melbourne and you are environmentally conscious. So why don't you upgrade with Houdini Plumbing? Ditch your old gas hot water unit and switch to an energy efficient heat pump. You can save on your bills, reduce your carbon footprint and enjoy reliable hot water. So we ask, why choose Houdini Plumbing? Because it's energy efficient, which is up to 70% less. Also, we are eco-friendly, which is lower emissions, and also it's cost savings, so you can slash your bills. We also have expert installers and a professional service. So for all you Melbourneites, call Houdini Plumbing 03 9917 5458, or for those of you who want to get online, visit houdiniplumbing.com.au to upgrade today.
All right, back into the show we go. Stevie.
Yo.
First fight last week, Wednesday night, Channel 7. Australia was watching. You went out there, put on a great performance. You and Brody left nothing. How can I say this first?
Nothing in the tank. Nothing
in the tank. That's the one. We got stuck there for a moment. Awesome fight, great display. Take us through it.
Yeah, it was. The nerves were building. I think we saw each other backstage and we're going, are we going to go easy in the first round? I said, no, let's just go hard and give the fans what they want, and that's a decent whack on. So I said, look, if one of us it's getting really hurt, we can back off. But I think all that went out the window as soon as we went in the first round. We both went headhunting. I had all these plans to go to the body, and I was working on all these techniques, but everything just went out the window. I think the nerves built up. Even the walkout. I nearly tripped over a few times. The legs were a bit wobbly. It was sort of reminiscence of walking out in front of 100,000 people on the MCG Grand Final day. There's the nerves, and I remember thinking, shit, there's people watching this on TV as well. I've got my nephews and niece sitting home with my mum, and then so it was a great experience. But I didn't think I'd be that nervous. But then looking over at Brody, he was just as nervous. So. Yeah, when we're face to face and they're calling our names, getting ready to whack on, it was an exciting feeling. But then it was just like football. When the first punches were thrown, it just felt like all the shackles were off, and then we were into it. And I think the fans enjoyed it. And Brody was a brutal. It was a tough opponent. All my plans of working the body and doing these special moves was just went out. He was moving heaps and. He was grabbing on, which was sucking both of our energy. And I think the last round, I think my fitness got him. I did about 3 or 4 weeks of really pretty brutal training. The last 3 or 4 weeks, I brought one of those mouth breather things that I saw Joe Rogan promoting, and I was shadow boxing in the lounge room. I didn't tell Brody any of this. But yeah, I think the fitness in the third round, I think it was pretty even until then. I think I might have got the first round, he got the second. So it all came down to the last round. So it was just I think the fitness wore him down, and it was just great. And it was just great to talk to the fans after. I had a lot of family and friends there, and that everyone just enjoyed the fight. Like you want to go in there and you want to put on a show, you want to put on a good performance, and that's what we heard after the fight. That everyone was cheering to the last second, and it was great. It was great to get the win, and hats off to Brody for putting up such a great fight.
Bakes, fantastic synopsis. It's a really good insight into pre-fight, walking into the ring, and then during the fight and then post-fight. What we would like to know, as would your fans and our fans, what surprised you most about the night?
Probably just how hard it was on the body. I know the second round I stood up off the stool to go into the second round, and my legs were just full of lactic, and it just didn't feel like they were underneath me. And I remember first hearing that the fight was 3 times 2 minutes, and when I train hard. I always train to failure, until I can't do any more reps. And I did an endurance race last year, which was like 13 hours, the Ironman. So I'm just thinking 6 minutes, this is going to be easy. I can go crazy for 3 times 2 minutes. But after the first 1 minute, my legs were just full of lactic. I couldn't duck down and do I had these power punches ready, but every time I went down on my leg, it just felt like they were not there. So standing up in the second round, I'm thinking, shit, my legs are not under me here, and I was really worried about just not being able to do all the moves. And then Brody started punching me in the face, and shit, I'm in a fight. I'm in a fight here. Not stop worrying about my legs. And then I remember standing up in the third round, I got up early, maybe 10 seconds early, and it was just to get my legs, a bit of blood flow in the legs. And Brody said he saw that from across, and he goes, mate, it mentally stuffed me, because he goes, I just thought you weren't that tired, but I was really doing it because I was tired. So it was, the most surprising thing was just how brutal it was on the legs, the lungs. I remember the biggest thing I was trying to remember was to relax and breathe. I know, because every time I did a sparring session, Clay Smith, I sparred some good people leading up, and I was holding my breath. Clay gave me the advice, my trainer gave me the advice, but once I was out there, it was just like, you're whacking each other. You're thinking, you don't get knocked out in front of all your friends and family. So you're tensing up. Your immediate reaction was just to hold your breath and grit your teeth. And then 30 seconds in, it feels like I hadn't taken a breath. So, just the fitness and the respect that I have for boxers. Mitchie Leake, watching the last fight against Brubaker, I think they went 10 3-minute rounds. Just the respect I just have for boxers, their fitness, and I think it is classified as one of the most hardest sports in the world. And when you get in there for 3 times 2 minute rounds, you'll know why that is.
Could you actually think clearly whilst you're actually in the ring? Like, it sounds like with the breathing, people actually say, slow down your breathing and take in for what your surrounds are. It sounds like it was actually almost a flash of light for you.
Yeah, it was. It was like football. Like I was never a good decision maker when I got the ball. Everything just seemed like it was flashing around, and I'd kick a few out on the full. But when you're in there, you're thinking, okay, I'm going to go in there. As you're stepping up, you're closing the range a little bit. You think, I'm going to go in with a body shot. Then he's not there, and then you think, shit, what am I doing? And then you're throwing punches that are missing by a mile. So in training, it just seems like it's all going to come together. But when you're out there, it is. He's not there. Then he's like in front of your face, and then you're trying to remember all your training. You get a close guard when they're close up, which I totally forgot. I was just there, just whacking on whenever he came in close. I was just trying to whack him in the head, and I just totally forgot about my defense. Keeping the gloves up. Just watching the replay yesterday, because I hadn't watched it yet. I'm thinking, geez, my defense was so shit house. Like every time I'd throw the right, my bloody left was down, nearly touching my ankle. I'm thinking, shit, this is what the good boxers. And then you sort of see guys at the Mitch League, the Australian champ, what he does when he throws a punch, he keeps his left there. So all these things are in your head, and you get trained. They're just drilled into you. But I suppose 6 weeks is not, a lot of time to learn these good habits, even though you try your best. But when it was out there, it was just reminding me about getting back onto the old streets, the street fighting in Colac. It was just like I was out there just trying to throw haymakers and get him out of there as quick as I could. But yeah, he was strong.
Well, there you go. Stevie, are we going to see you back in the ring shortly, or is there going to be a big break in between? Because everything that you just said will take a few fights for you to sort of be able to make that decision making and be able to do what you want to do and implement the game plan. Because it's all about drilling it into you, becomes your reflexes, so on and so on.
Yeah, well, funnily enough, I got invited on Triple J 2 days ago, and Stevie J was on. He was in the actual studio, and they.
You mean Triple M?
Oh, Triple M. Sorry,
Yeah.
not Triple J. Yeah, sorry. Triple M, and he was in the studio, and I was listening in, and Stevie didn't know, and he goes, "Oh, and they were just saying, "Oh, what did you think of the Baker fight?" And I think he said, "Oh, I would have knocked Baker out in the first round," and he goes, "Oh, we got Baker on the line," so it was some good banter. Stevie and I have had a chat 6 weeks ago when I called him out online, and I think he said if the price is right, I'm willing to get in there. And since then, I've heard that he's okay with the gloves from a few ex-Geelong players. So, but I don't know. I'll get in there with anyone. I love having a fight, but I definitely want to have at least one more, maybe two. If I won, I'd probably want to go on with it. If I'd lost, I'd probably want to have one more to make the record 2-1 at least. So I reckon maybe another couple. But my body, even because I've had the hip replacement, even the body this week, I've been really run down. Had a couple of good days recovery, but then the last 2 or 3 days I've been run down. The body and my arms are just so tired. So maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe 5.
Bakes, in terms of your future, I know we're discussing that, but just to digress for a moment, how did you celebrate the win over Brodie Holland last week?
I had a lot of friends and family, so I stayed at Crown. So we all met down at the bar. So my brother and sis flew down from Queensland. Had all my mates there. We had 10 Colac mates. We had a few spins on roulette and the big wheel. Went to the jackpot bar for a little bit, the atrium bar. But just had a great night, just talking. All the boxers were there, hanging out. It was just good to share a drink after what was a 6-week. It was a pretty brutal camp. Going out to Keilor, which is over a half an hour drive. 3 or 4 times a week. A lot of training at home, obviously. A lot of build up, a lot of nerves, a lot of banter. So it was a 6 weeks of. I suppose the build-up, it was great to just sit down and relax. And I hadn't had a drink for a month or so, so it was share a couple of drinks with my bro, best mates, and that was just it was pretty special after the fight.
How did your body and your brain acclimatise to going back into that mode of having a drink, whether it be 2 beers or 2 vodkas or 2 scotches? In terms of you've shocked your body into being so fit, and then you go back into this mode of, well, I can relax and have a beer. And it's almost a shock to the system.
Yeah, it is a little bit. It's just like the footy days where you have the season off and you have the 8 weeks off, and sometimes the first time you hit the drinks, it does knock you around a bit. So I had a big night, but then I had 2 days of relaxing. I was sauna, spa, but then it was 3 days after I woke up and I had a little bit of a head cold. And the last 3 days I've been a little bit crook. So, but I think that's expected. You've been your body's been in great shape. For 6 weeks, you haven't touched a drink. I let the hair down. I was probably expecting to be a bit run down, the week after the fight. So I don't mind. But what goes up must come down. But I reckon another 2 or 3 days recovery, and I'll get back into the training and eye off that next opponent, whether it be Stevie. Swanee, Dane Swan, I watched him fight, and he was very handy, very confident, very relaxed.
Is that the fight against Daisy Thomas in Adelaide?
Yes, yeah. He looked really good. So I know after the fight, I said something like, Dane Swan, you look pretty handy, but Stevie J's been ducking me for years. So I sort of called out 2 people in one. Got to keep the options open. But I think both will be good fights, and obviously, both can throw a punch. I've heard. I saw Swanee, but I've heard Stevie can throw a pretty good punch and was handy back in the Geelong days in the boxing ring. So I don't know. I'll just have to work out the tactics whoever I come up against next. And like I was tagging. And when I was tagging, I'd always do video analysis of my opponents just so I could break them down, what their weaknesses are. Stevie J's weakness won't be his belly because he got stabbed and survived. So I'll probably have to go for headshots there.
So that being said, does your next opponent or the opponent after that, do they have to be an ex-AFL footballer?
No, I'm happy to take on anyone. Like, I think that does create a bit of fanfare and a bit of banter though with the ex AFL. I think Brodie and I had some amazing banter the 6 weeks later. We're great mates, and Brodie and I shared a beer for a couple of hours. He was down with the crew, so it was. I think it was a good setup because I don't know, just because he has his fans, I had my fans in Kilda, and it was a great build up. But I'm not against it. I don't want to turn this into a career though. So as I mentioned, I've probably got 2, maybe 3 fights left in me. So I don't know. I just want something that the fans will enjoy. That's going to attract a crowd. That's why the Stevie J build up, I think, would be a good matchup just for that aspect, because I think the promo, I think last time we played on each other, we both got reported. I got reported 4 times. I've still got a sore eye. I've got a scar under my eye where he gave me 8 stitches. So I owe him one. But I'm not against it. I'm not against anything. Like, if someone has a good matchup, I can have a crack at anyone.
Well, before Armin gets stuck in here, what about Mad Mitch Robinson?
Mitch Robinson, yeah, I actually missed that. That was the only fight I missed of the gather round. But and I know Kane, he's a mate of mine, and I know he'd had a couple of fights. But I saw the highlights of Mitch Robinson. So maybe I'd have to win the next one, and then I'd have to maybe step up to Mitch, because I think he looks like a bit of an animal as well. But you'd have to last the first couple of rounds. I think. What round did they go the distance?
Yeah, they did. But
they went the distance,
but he won convincingly over Kane Pettifer,
Yeah. So I think I'd have to get another one under the belt, maybe another one before I call out someone like Mitchy, because he looks like a bit of an animal.
Stevie, you've played in a grand final in front of 100,000 people, and you've fought in a ring in front of millions across the country. What's the biggest difference between the two?
I think with boxing, it was all eyes on you, and it's like you're walking out to the ring. The whole arena is watching you. Whereas a team, you're sort of you're hidden in between 22 people. Obviously, you got your moments where you've got the ball, but I think when you're playing footy, you sort of forget the crowd a bit. But with boxing, it's like after the round, I think when you're actually throwing punches, you sort of do forget the crowd, but then you go back to the ring and you can hear tables yelling out. You got the camera right in your face. So it was a different feeling. I would say the boxing's more daunting. I know the legs went weak when I ran out on the MCG with 100,000 people the first time, but it sort of went away pretty quickly in the first quarter, the nerves of that, where the boxing, I think just having all eyes on you, I think was a big thing to sort of have in your head.
And how about the athletic component? I mean, is there a huge difference, or are they very similar?
I think it's a different fitness. Like I mentioned, I did the endurance race last year, which was the Ironman, which was a lot of long distance riding and swimming, and I heard about this, and it was 3 times 2 minutes, and I almost laughed. And I said, "Oh," and I said, "Yeah, I'll do that. Easy." But just, I remember the first time in the gym, they said, "Yeah, we're going to do 3 2-minute rounds on the heavy bag. Go as hard as you can." They had the camera there as well for a bit of promo, so I was going pretty hard. And 40 seconds in, I was absolutely spent. I was holding the breath. I hadn't learned the breathing techniques of relaxing, and 40 seconds in, I was spent. I couldn't throw my arms, couldn't breathe, hyperventilating. So the fitness is different. So my respect for boxers, I've been watching boxing the last couple of days because you know how hard it is. So you sort of have a lot more respect for the game, the fitness, and I couldn't even fathom doing 10 3-minute rounds. I know Barry Michaels was talking about the ex-world champion. Was talking about he used to do 15 3-minute rounds. I think he did 11 of them or something, and I just thinking, wow, that's the fitness is just different level in boxing.
Do you remember anything that anybody said from the crowd on the fight night?
Not really. It was very loud. Like I had my bro and sis were there. They said they were yelling out things. I had some mates. Oh, we're telling you, because I actually told my sister to yell out to breathe, because that was one of my things. Once I get in a whack on, or once I was sparring, I'd always forget to breathe and throw a heap of punches. And so I told my sister, yell out, breathe, breathe. And I couldn't hear her once. She goes, did you hear me? And I said, no. Nah. So the actual crowd in the pavilion was pretty electric. I don't know how many people that was in there, 15 or 1,500 or 20. It was just it was a great setup, and all the crowd seemed very close to the ring. So and I had a lot of mates there from different aspects. So from Colac mates, a lot of guys. Jackson Warren had a table. So to have like thousands of people yelling at the same time, I couldn't actually pinpoint really anything.
It didn't feel that way on TV, actually. To be honest with you, that noise didn't come through. So
didn't come through.
No, it didn't, unfortunately. But yeah, all right, awesome, mate. Well, there you go. You've finally done it. You've experienced it. You've come and you've conquered, and now you're moving on to the next one. So hopefully, we wish you all the best in your upcoming boxing plans.
Yeah.
Before we wrap things up, Tony, any last questions for Stevie?
Yeah, Bakes, I've got one more, which hopefully doesn't make you too emotional, but was there any, in terms of the victory, any dedication to your great late mate, Shane Warne?
Well, no, not officially. I did have that, things like that in the back of my head. Jackson that was there with all his mates at a table. So, Warne did enter my head during and before the event, when I see mates like that come up to support you, and you realise how many people are behind you on the night. I think I had sort of 7 or 8 tables. Justin Kaczynski got a table, another Saints, Fraser Garrett got a table, my Colac mates got a table. So I had a lot of friends and family there that it did make it pretty emotional. Like I was after the fight, giving everyone big hugs, and it was sort of one of the most exciting sort of moments of my life. Once the hand got raised, and then I could just go and celebrate with my friends and family. It was awesome.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Stevie Bam Bam Baker, thank you very much for joining us on Raw Sport. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, Bakes. Well done.
See you again soon.